Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be talking about how we made 472,737.40 for this Australian, let's just say supplement brand. They're also selling in the US, which is another store, which is like a little bit less than half of this size, but it's still a good level. This, for the record, is about 330K USD. So this is the revenue that we generated just from email and text. Most of it is from email, as you can see on the breakdown in here. The store made 2.1 mil. This is again Australian in the last 1 year. And let me put that number into for just to give you some insight. So like 1.5 mil USD. So this is annual revenue, right? So it's not profit, but yeah, attributed revenue was over 22%. And yeah, let's get into how we managed to do that, right? So you can see that there are some jumps in here, for example, Black Friday. And many of these numbers I'm seeing, I mean, for the first time in a while, we audit the accounts frequently. The account manager does that for us most often, but many of that I will be kind of like discovering together with you whilst I know what we've been doing and our best practices. So you can see some campaign performance here. You can see a big jump in November and now a big jump in June. We made some quite a lot of promotions now in June, and we can talk about what those were. And otherwise, just some consistent deliveries. We sent to a lot of recipients in here. Flow's performance was kind of like, this is something that I find fascinating with Klaviyo and just speaking with e-commerce store owners. Usually what I like to do is when we work with someone, we set the goal of the percentage of revenue that is generated from email. That's one of our maybe our first goal. And then the second one is, what is the total revenue we made from email campaigns? And the reason why we do that is because that's the thing that we have the most control over. So this is the actual like live numbers that you see in the last 30 days. And you can see that there's just some downside compared to the 30 days before that. And this is something, if you have followed this channel, something that I like to do. Like I like to, show you our actual benchmarks. So like I will show you like the good stuff, and then I will also show you the bad things. Like maybe on the abandoned cart emails, our open rates could be higher, for example. Again, I don't think this is like a super huge issue, but yeah, maybe something we could look at. Unsubscribe it. So I'm always happy to see unsubscribe instead of some complaints or bounced, for example. I think those are two much worse deliverability metrics in terms of its impact on your deliverability. So I always prefer when somebody doesn't engage with your emails. Actually, you could argue that there are 4 possible options. So they can not open your emails. That's one of the worst, right? Like you're just kind of constantly getting low open rates. And then the second one can be if they mark you as spam. That's the worst possible outcome. If somebody receives your email and then they see you and then they put you as spam. Many times that happens if you don't have like unsubscribe button very clearly displayed somewhere. Or maybe they bounced. Maybe there was a soft or a hard bounce. This is something that we talk about often. Maybe their inbox is full or they gave you an incorrect email address. Maybe it's a bot. So that's, again, a bad outcome. So if you have a really high bounce rate, that's bad. And let's actually also take a look at deliverability. So we're on the fair zone. And where are we? Yes. So bounce rate is really good. This is something I'm always happy to see. Click rate, it says it's bad, but honestly, so we worked with, I've audited over 1,000 e-com brands at this point. We've been doing this for like 9 years, or I have personally, and the team have so much experience too. And we worked with Fortune 500 companies in the past as well. So the click rate is something that only the top 20% of the brands that I've seen actually get a high click rate. And it's usually the guys or the people or the brands who have some kind of a organic following. So for example, this brand, while they are becoming pretty well known, especially in Australia, a lot of the traffic still comes from Facebook ads or Google ads, maybe for this specific supplement product that they're selling. They have multiple products, and it's kind of like, let's just say like male and testosterone niche, fully compliant products. Something that was interesting actually with this client is something that I learned as well. Actually, oftentimes in the US, we talk about there are so many restrictions, but actually there's even more restrictions in Europe and, for example, Australia. So I've only came across Klaviyo accounts getting suspended, and both of them were from Australia. And I've seen accounts from Israel, from South Africa, from, not to say, with all due respect to these countries, it's just like, other countries, Indian countries like Hungary. I think it comes into it. I'm Hungarian, so the only places where I've seen getting accounts suspended is Australia. So in my experience, if you're selling in Australia, you need to be super careful with compliance. So for example, with healthcare products or supplements, there's a super long PDF with 50 pages of what you can or cannot say. Like, for example, for this product, we cannot say that, one of the products that they're selling, we cannot say that it's going to increase your testosterone levels or increase your energy. We can only say it will support your levels, or it will support to give you a boost, like something super like friendly like this. And also I had one more idea for this client, which was to send an email, something like, hey guys, I'm Ben, I do the email marketing for this brand. This is what we would send out to their audience, right? Hey, so at first I was skeptic, like I wasn't sure about if this actually works or not. And then I actually tried it out. And after taking it for like 2 weeks or something, I felt a noticeable difference in my energy levels. For example, like kind of like an authentic, because I tried the product and it was good. So some kind of an authentic like client review or testimonial. But for example, in Australia, you're not allowed to do that because it comes from like someone within the company. And for example, that's restricted. Whereas, for example, for their account, we have a separate Klaviyo account for their US sales and US operations. And there we could send this email, and it's totally like legal and it's fine. And I think it's actually good marketing. So, but there's a lot more restrictions in Australia. So you need to be really careful with the claims, even though this product is like doctors medically approved. And that's a lot of our angles, by the way, in terms of a copywriting perspective. Something that I really like about working with Australian, New Zealand, UK brands is many times we can use a specific type of tone of voice and we can be funny. I'm just the kind of person, I love being funny and people who are funny. I think there should be more funny people on this earth. So whenever we have an opportunity to work with someone where we can display some personality, I'm super happy about it. But for this client specifically, they actually didn't, their website might make you feel that it's that kind of brand, even their name and some of the like taglines, let's say, or even like some of the copy on the products pages. But with the email marketing specifically, they were really specific about it from day one. They wanted to portray some kind of like a professional tone of voice, that emphasizing that it's a medically approved product. And yeah, and then one more request that they had, which I found fascinating, is actually about the email templates. So this is not the brand that we're working with, but one thing that they requested is they want their emails to look either like this, like fully designed, not much copy. Actually, they would probably tell me that this copy is too much, like there's too much text, basically. Or like this is option one, like heavy design, not much text, or long form copy, no images. Actually, I'm personally a really big fan of this kind of vibe. But a lot of times, just from a positioning perspective, they always kind of prefer the design heavy emails. So we've been doing a lot of that. But if I was the only decision maker in this brand, and this is something that we like to do with our clients, it's kind of like also my, I don't know, philosophy as well. It's like our job is like to get you results. And that's something that, I don't know, I just learned along the way. Like, I need to find out, do you really only just want me? Because there are clients who will want us to, they will tell us, just make as much money as possible, but then they will have a lot of like feedback and micromanaging. And then like it's kind of like we kind of have to find out along the way. Usually, obviously, we like to work with clients who are just like, hey, you're the experts, I'll let you do what you think is best. And usually those are the clients that get the best results. So if you want to work with us, for example, that's what I would recommend for you. And yeah, for example, like this is just like a preference of mine, of like something that it's not only a preference, it's something that is backed up properly by numbers. So even now we're working with hair care products in Europe, selling to older women, or let's say 40 plus, 50 plus, something like that. And you would assume that for them, it's heavy images and, cute, pretty emails that will work better. And it's insane how much better. That's one of the clearest examples I've ever seen where emails work way better when they are simple and something like this. Okay. And then moving swiftly on about the campaigns. So this is one of the reasons why this month has been so good in terms of campaign results. We've been doing this promotion about the brand's birthday. So we've been pushing that quite a bit. You can see we keep it quite simple with the segmentation. Our main aim is to get to, yeah, like 40% open rate, something along those lines. And this is just a belief of mine that I think when we work with an e-commerce brand, actually so the number one goal, make as much money in a sustainable way for you as possible, like not without burning down the list, basically. And then the secondary goal, get high open rates, which is, it kind of depends on the country and the context as well, and like how healthy your list is. Like there are some lists that are really bad, and they're honestly even getting to like 25% average open rate is a really good level and really good success. But usually we like to do like 35, 40% as average, and that's what Klaviyo says is a good level. It's crazy to me that they say this is poor, by the way. So I've been doing this for 9 years, and 3, 4, 5 years ago, the Klaviyo benchmarks were like, are you above 20%? And they have really risen significantly. And they say they make it kind of like niche specific as well, but just based on my experience, and we've done quite a lot of deep research into how Gmail works and Hotmail, for example, like how you can end up in the inbox. These are really good levels. So as long as you're at 40%, it doesn't really make a super big difference if you're averaging 40% or 50. But usually, like if you had, two equal situations, I would rather actually have 40% sometimes, because it means that you're probably able to send to bigger segments and contact more people. Okay. And then last but not least, we can take a look at some of the best performing campaign flows, actually. So you can see the welcome flow performing really good, plus 271% change in the last 30 days. And then we've got the abandoned checkout one, browse abandonment, abandoned cart. So that's a different one. You can see the trigger is added to cart and not checkout started. And then we've got this footer subscribers flow, super underrated, by the way. When people buy something, they usually end up on the post-purchase flow. When they subscribe on the pop-up, they get to the welcome flow. But what happens when they get added to the footer? A lot of times people are not sending them anything. And then another one that I keep talking about quite a lot, if you've watched my videos, expected date of next order flow, really good, product neutral. We made it, and it just follows up with people when we expect them to buy again. Super good for these kind of products that are consumable, and you basically people run out. Replenishment as well. And we do this campaign flow as well, of like, we add the best performing campaigns into this flow after they exit the abandoned cart, as like a weekly nurturing check-in of like the campaigns that have performed the best. So that has been just the overview of the flows. And then I just wanted to show you, last but not least, the best performing campaigns that we sent so far. So a lot of the first two was actually sent in the last 30 days. So this email made over $10,000 Australian, and this one made 9K. So this like end of financial year sale, you can see that we send this one to the Hotmail focus, and just with a tax angle, with the angle, and it's just like buy two get two. And then the second one, again, end of financial year. And then before that, it was the Black Friday emails. There's nothing wrong with, and then this one was actually a deactivated segment, no problem with that. And yeah, that usually happens, when you offer a big sale or a big incentive, that usually just converts best. It's something that I worked with so many ecom people in the past, and discounts is kind of like, it's almost a little bit of a red flag if somebody doesn't want to do a discount, unless they have like a really like a proper brand. And like if they say, okay, I don't do discounts, and then I check their account and then I see, okay, consistently you've been making over 100, 200, 300K for the last 1 year, then yeah, okay, you have a business, you have a brand. But like, I'm telling you right now, 99.9% of the time, that is not the case. It's the people who are not making any money. And usually they are the most confident on the call, and the most demanding with like what they want their email marketer to do. And I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, let's talk about it. I would be happy to take a look at your email account with Klaviyo. And then they give me access, and then I see they made 5K in the last 30 days. So I'm like, cool, okay, you don't do discounts? Okay, fair. Yeah, I'm sure that's the thing that is like stopping you from scaling to 100, right? So yeah, anyway, that's just sharing a little bit more about my experience. I hope you found this video helpful, and I try to make it very nuanced and like I try to make my YouTube channel in a way where I talk about things that I don't hear many people talking about. So I try to always bring some new angles, and I don't really listen to other people much. I use experience, which is because that's our thing, right? So we're constantly analyzing things and seeing our own angles. So I think that that's something I like, for example, from Gary Vee or Alex Hormozis. Like their content is kind of like not based on some other guy. It's just their interpretation of business. So that's it. If you got this far in the video, thanks so much. And make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, all this good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.